All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Again with another live stream, bringing you the latest in Chelsea news, discussions, interactions. Today, you know what? Today, it's going to be a very unique and special kind of a stream where, honestly, I'm going to completely hear out what you guys are saying because there's lots that's been happening. I see a lot of people saying Ms. late again, Ms. late. I guess this is a bit of a troll now, isn't it? Can't even be 30 seconds late anymore. But yeah, Team B saying Miss thinks is Matisse. Oh my days! If only I made you guys wait as long as what Matisse does. But as I was saying, first of all, thank you so much for joining. Really much appreciated. Smash the like button as soon as you come through, and if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. We are gunning down for 21,000 subscribers, and we want to race towards 30,000. That's the next big aim. So make sure you subscribe. So as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, this stream today is all about you guys because there's some mixed reviews in regards to this mentality coach that we're hiring. I believe his name is Gilbert Enocka. We already hired, as per Matt Law, we've already hired Gilbert Enocka, who is the mentality coach, more like to breed a mentality of success within the group. And there's been some mixed sort of reviews. Some people are like, well, shouldn't that be the manager's role? Some people are like, Miss, every organization already has that. It's not a biggie, and which is true. And then some people are like, once again, it's not a biggie, but I think it became big because of how public this whole news was. Had it not been really public, had it just been a normal sort of, news, I don't think many people would be too critical or get carried away with this particular news. So it's true. Look, most organizations have a success coach or a mentality coach. I think the women's team also, some of you guys have commented that they've got themselves a mentality coach as well. It's difficult to keep a track of everything from the manager. I understand that. Being a manager of a football club, there's a lot that they need to be aware of, and sometimes some added help is good help, I suppose. So look, I want to hear from you guys what some of you guys are saying. Initially, when I saw this news, I felt, and also the fact that it's a short-term appointment, it made me feel, how do you change one's behavior in short term? And then some of the quotes that was flying around as well, that they're going to be weaning out egos, they're going to be weaning out the characters that don't want to put in the hard yards. I mean, who will you actually, we kind of know, right? We kind of know who are the ones that are misfits in this Chelsea team, yeah? I mean, would you agree, ladies and gentlemen? Nearly 200 of you guys are live right now. We kind of know who are the misfits. I mean, from this exercise of trying to build a culture of success, of elite mentality, which, let's be honest, our football club has lacked. Yes, in the last 5 to 10 years, let's just say, we've won stuff. There's no doubt about that. But we've not been able to prolong in terms of challenging for titles season in, season out. In fact, with the Premier League, it's going to be 6 years. Last time was Conte, 15, 16. 7 years. It'll be 7 years, wouldn't it? It will be 7 years since the last time that we won the Premier League. So I can understand the winning mentality, that culture of strong mental aptitude is gone. So I understand that. But at the same time, I'm like, all of these cooks in the kitchen, is that good enough? Like, there's so many new people. So anyway, that's just my feelings, and I really want to hear from you guys what you have to say. Kingsley, thank you so much for the super chat. People forgot past managers question team mentality. Absolutely. Look, past managers have question mentality, no problems. But how, and this is the question that I want to ask you guys, ladies and gentlemen. This past managers, some past elite managers have questioned the team mentality. I mean, how sure are you guys? How sure are you guys that Graham Potter is the man that we want to be able to give everything possible? And I'm not saying Graham Potter in or Graham Potter out. Don't get this siege mentality. I'm just saying, think for a second from your perspective. How confident are you that he is the guy that you want to lay everything for? You want to be able to move mountains for. You want to give him all the players. You want to give him a mentality coach. You want to give him everything. How confident are you that this is the guy is the right person? Once again, like I can see already Tanaka saying, Miz, you sound impatient. I'm not. I'm literally having a conversation with you guys. I'm literally having a conversation. We do watch-alongs together, and straight after the watch-alongs, I get over 60% saying Graham Potter out when I have 900 people live and over 700 votes. I'm not the one impatient, man. I'm just saying, these are what people are saying. I want Graham Potter to stick around, but also at times I question myself as well. Is how much of the right guy is Graham Potter? Like, how do we know? How can we? What sort of background does Graham Potter have to showcase that he is the right guy? Do you know what I'm saying? We've had so many legendary managers and we've not given them an opportunity. And I want to ask you guys also, are you in a fantasy of the idea of keeping a manager for a long time? Or are you actually thinking Potter is the right guy for the long term? Because I feel like that we need to understand. I feel like a large part of the fan base seems to love the concept of having a manager for a long time, regardless of who the manager is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've never seen a manager for more than 2 seasons in recent history. I think we've fallen in love, or we desperately want a particular manager that just stays for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years with us, regardless of who it is. It didn't have to be Potter. It could be anyone else. So are you in love with the concept, or are you in love with the manager? How much faith do you have in the manager? And once again, this is not about me being impatient. I want Graham Potter to work out. I'm just merely having a discussion with you guys. Let's see what you guys are saying right now. Milo, we are going through tough times. It's not easy to watch, but sometimes there are some few positive defensively in back four. We are better. Joint third, least goal conceded. Joint second, clean sheets. Okay. So what you're trying to say is that defensively we're looking good. As long as we can slowly start kicking the attack into gears, we should pick up victories. And then some of our XGs in recent times looks good. So are you kind of saying, Milo, that you feel that potentially Graham Potter is the right guy? I don't know if Potter is the right guy or not, but I do know we need to clear out these fringe players from our squad before looking at the manager. Fair point. But I guess what I want to ask you, Shubra, is do we need a success or mentality coach to outline to us who are these fringe players? Or the role of the mentality coach is far bigger than that? It's not just to wean out the egos, or it's not just to wean out the bad apples, but it's to create this environment where success can be bred. And if that's the case, why is it short term? Why isn't someone hired at a long-term basis? Surely you can't change the mentality in a short term. Mentality for me feels like, it's a habitual thing. It takes time to change mentality. Potter isn't the guy to work under pressure and to train 100-meter stars. Fair enough. It looks like players are unwilling to take responsibility. They're running away on the pitch, waiting for others to do the job. Let's see what Banak CFC is saying. We just have to wait and find out these questions all the time about his future. Is not needed, in my opinion, when they will just sack him if he doesn't perform. Time will reveal the truth. Absolutely, time will definitely reveal the truth. At the end of the day, we forget this is a results-based business. And the more the results don't go our way, I think sometimes the answers are just made for us, regardless of how much we want to stick around. Addition of Nkunku and if Rice possible, we should have two good front players. I bet you that the mentality check coach will also look at. And do you know what? This is the crazy. They won't tell you. This is the crazy thing. I had few people comment like this yesterday in the video that I did about this particular topic. Few people said, "What if the mentality coach actually comes up with a recommendation that maybe Graham Potter needs some help?" Do you know what I mean? Then what? Then what happens? You know what I want you guys to think about for a second? Who, obviously, before hiring this particular individual, right? There must have been a discussion, yeah? Like, think about it from a normal sense of view. Whenever you guys make a decision, there's always a discussion, right? There's always a discussion before you come up with a decision. You speak to your parents, or you speak to your friends, you speak to your partners, you speak to your whoever, right? Before you come up with a decision. So obviously in this scenario, there must have been a group that would have had a conversation, a discussion with the board, with the owners, that Chelsea Football Club needs a mentality coach to foster an environment that breeds success. So I'm guessing Graham Potter, I don't know, was that off the back of his initial assessment from the team that he saw and felt that some of these players lack that brute mentality? Or did he even make that suggestion? Or was it someone else? Was it Vivell? Was it Winston Lee? Was it Todd Bowley? Does Graham Potter know everything? Like, that's the other question that I want to ask. Is Graham Potter involved in every single decision? Do the board, the owners, do they all, every time they make a decision to bring someone in, does Graham Potter get consulted? Whether it be players, whether it be a mentality coach, is he one of the people that signs it off as well? Yeah, things to think about. Gunjal, thank you so much for the super chat. Our problem is not defense nor attack. Our problem is connection between them. Now, well said. Well said. That's midfield, basically, you're talking about. Orix, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Many cooks in the kitchen isn't a bad thing as long as they have clear, specific roles and same goal. Bowley, the boss of hundreds of employees, can manage. Well said as well. Well said. Like that, I guess initially that was my first thought, that when you have so many people with voice, is it a good thing? Sometimes I feel like just let Graham Potter go out there, figure it out himself, and give him the opportunity. I don't think we've given Graham Potter the opportunity to at least gel with this bunch of new players. And on top of that, a lot of the players, the current players, were injured. And now they're slowly coming back. We've not even given, I feel personally, that we've not even given Graham Potter the opportunity to first understand them before we start throwing in all these people left, right, and center. I don't know. It just makes me think, is Graham Potter the one that's asking for all of these people to come in? Or is it someone above Graham Potter looking in and saying, I think you may need help here, or you may need help there? Do you know what I'm saying? Emma Hayes had a mentality coach. I'm pretty sure, although she's different from Potter, it helps, especially with a squad as big as ours. It also helps these young players become more hungry, exposing players. Yeah, true, true, true. Potter is a coach. He has a defined remit, and that does not extend to these things. The owners have seen something and are working another way to correct it. I don't look completely appreciate where you're coming from, Mark, but I feel like Potter as the manager or as the coach should be heavily involved with the players' mentality. He should. I mean, he can't just be all about tactics and how to win games. How to win games has to deal with the mental side of it as well. And in order to know a player and how to get the best out of them, you have to know them at a personal level. I don't think Potter just comes in and just trains with them. Like, I think Potter as a manager should get to know them at a personal level in order to get the best out of them. I don't think that that particular aspect of the team should be outsourced to someone else. You don't just come in and just go, okay, everyone, let's start training. Let's do these drills. All right, everyone, see ya. Like, I'm sure Graham Potter will have to talk to these players at a personal level and get to know them. What if there's anything that's bothering them in life, or if something that's positive as well. Because how can you get the best out? How will these players run for you in the field? How will these players fight for you in the field if you don't connect to them at a personal level? That's just my thought. Mentality of winning come later. Players as a team first priority. Playing as a team is first priority, which wasn't the case, I feel. Our problem is attack. We had 9 big chances against Fulham, but Havertz only has 8% conversion. Just not good enough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I just look. Of course, Havertz hasn't been good. Of course, Mount hasn't been good. Of course, Gallagher hasn't been good. Of course, Ziyech hasn't been good. Of course, Cucurella hasn't been good. Of course, many other players hasn't been good. Raheem Sterling hasn't been good. Many more. But I don't think it all comes down to just individual issues. I think, look, I'm not going to lie. There is definitely some form of mentality problem within the team. I get that. But I feel when it comes to mentality, it's so closely related to motivation. It's so closely related to getting the buy-in on the new manager's, plans and ideas. I just get the feeling for some reason, and then it's up to you guys to let me know how you feel. And this is just my personal feeling. There's no need to be, feeling threatened or feeling, disgruntled about what I'm saying. It's just my feeling. I just get the feeling Graham Potter is unable to convince some of these players, and this is why Reece James with his Instagram story. Some of you guys are saying that, oh, that's just Reece being Reece. I don't know, man. I don't know. I honestly feel Graham Potter is finding it hard to convince some of these players. And then this Gilbert Enocka coming in, is he really going to solve stuff? Is he really going to solve stuff? That's just my thought. I just feel like, Graham Potter, you should be doing your best to see how you can break in. And if you can't, maybe it's time for you to win them out. Not just Oba, not just whoever else, but yeah, just do the job. And what about the players that may have strong mentality but are poor performers? What then? What if someone like, let's say, Gallagher, Mount, who may be very, very strong mentally, but they're poor performers? What then? What happens then? Am I the only one that's confused with Nkunku signing? Yet we are looking for a striker mid in summer. Can't we just use Enzo Kante until Santos is ready? And isn't Nkunku being bought as a false 9? Look, I think we should probably get one more midfielder. I really do think we should get one more midfielder. But I don't think we're going to get someone in the likes of Rice for 70, 80, 90 million. I think it's going to be a cheaper purchase. Enzo was the big one. Look at all the stuff that's happening to Man City, man. You know, all the financial stuff. You know, they might have rigged their accounts, all the different sponsorship monies. Do they even exist? All the different, you know, under the table payments. I think our owners will be a bit more careful. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. Like, I'm pretty sure whatever Chelsea has done throughout this window, they would have made sure that they're covered and that they don't get in trouble, because what's the point? If you're breaching, then you will get caught. And that's a separate story anyway. Like, it's not like the Premier League is all, you know, like as if they're not corrupted themselves, like as if they're such a saint. All of these organizations are corrupted, every single one of them. When you're dealing with that much money, they're all corrupted. I'm not even going to be surprised if some of the people that are doing some of these investigations, that they're not corrupted, they're all corrupted. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't think we're going to lay out all this money in the summer. So, but look, I could be wrong. Maybe we will still get Declan Rice. But in terms of a striker, yeah, that's something to think about. And I think the word is out there that we will get a striker, even though Nkunku potentially could play there. But he may not be an out-and-out striker. I think recent comments that I've seen, it seems like he wants to play as a number 10. Tim B, thank you so much for the super chat. He's probably just here as a consultant to run a few workshops. My company does similar things. I don't think it's uncommon. Mount probably needs it. Look, yeah, fair enough. But do a few workshops, find a few things wrong. Then what? Are we going to take actions? Are we going to be privy to these results of what Enocka finds? Will there be repercussions? And what if it's a player that we've never even imagined? Could be a bit of a havoc. Then what? What if it's a player that we all sort of thought, nah, they've got a strong mentality, and then Enocka says, nah, they're the ones that have the poor attitude. Then what? Do you know what I mean? Oryx, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Maybe the owners themselves need mentality coach. Look, one thing I can definitely say about these owners now, they're legit. They're absolutely legit. They've got the best interest of the club. There's no doubt about that. The amount of money that they've spent, they've done a madness. And you can understand why they're so successful with everything else that they've done in terms of business outside of football. You don't become as successful as them if you don't know what you're doing. So I've got faith in the new owners, but I'm just thinking, you know, how long will their faith go for a manager like Graham Potter? You know, bringing in all this help. Are they even questioning themselves? Are the new owners questioning themselves that maybe he's struggling, maybe we just need to help him out? And that's fine, maybe, which is great. They're trying to give him everything possible to succeed, which is great. Let's just hope these results turn around. Miz, with this appointment, I think our owners are on damage control. If Potter can't motivate his players by himself, I absolutely can't trust him as a manager. And look, this is one of the thoughts that came to my mind as well initially. Thinking, is it the owners that are thinking that maybe he's struggling? Maybe the owners, the board have seen, maybe Christopher Vivell, maybe Paul Winstanley and everyone else that's involved, maybe they've noticed something with Potter, and now they're bringing in this guy just to help him out, which is fine. If it's gonna give us 3 points, consistent amount of 3 points in the long run, I'm all down for it. It's just, I guess, it just gets a bit sticky if the results don't really start turning around for us. This is why, Miz, I'm saying not to worry. If they are legit and see if Potter is not the man, then he walks. It's just that simple. Yeah, fairs, absolutely fairs. Potter needs time, of course, but how much time? And by giving time, Saramak, I want to ask you, what do you expect whilst giving time? How long are you willing to stay patient until you start seeing improvement? And as I said, whilst being patient, what do you want to see as well? Is it just blind patient and hoping that it just one day turns around? Or there are some expectations, even doing being patient? T1, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Some players playing 120 minutes a game every 3 days at the World Cup, but one game with Chelsea, they're out for 4 weeks. Yeah. Think you're talking about Kovacic over there? You know, yeah, what's wrong? Been able to play every single game for the World Cup, and all of a sudden, no show again. And now, you know, quite potentially there could be issues. I'm not doubting that, but seems to have made it through the World Cup in a vigorous competition. But and maybe these are the things. These are the things that we need to wean out, and also the medical staff room as well. That needs to be looked at with all of these players that are getting injured. Since that purple patch, when Potter first came, we have regressed, no improvement. I have to agree. I have to agree. Well, some will say that defensively we've improved. Fair enough. But there have been certain times where we might have got the clean sheet in recent times, but to be honest, the opposition could have scored. It wasn't like a flawless victory in terms of defensive masterclasses. You know what I mean? Miz, Potter has had months and months of time, and we've seen zero progress. Yeah, and I have to agree. Like, which players have really improved under Graham Potter so far? Like, we've seen improvements other previous managers immediately. There's been certain players that have immediately improved. Which players could we potentially say under Graham Potter has improved and they've been improving? I feel like a lot of players have probably regressed even more. And that might not be down to Potter completely. Their confidence was probably shot prior to that. That might be down to all the different changes that has happened to the football club, all the different personnel that's come in. And this is what I've been saying. We need to understand that these players are human beings. And throwing all of these new personnels, all of these new people into the club, it's only going to just alienate them a little bit more. We should just slowly but surely introduce these new people. Miss Potter has had months. Yep, I've gone through that. Let's have a look at this. By this time last season, Miss, we already see Arteta's side coming up the table. Potter's side is still struggling. Maybe Potter is building bit by bit. First the defensive pair, maybe now the mid. Yeah, fair enough. But look, with Arteta, it all just didn't all of a sudden click last season. There was the 2 8s before that, 8th, and then obviously 5th. Last season was a culmination of what happened in prior seasons, slowly but surely getting rid of all of these unwanted players that Arteta didn't want, and then slowly bringing in these young players and instilling, you know, this grit and obviously they bought in to what Arteta had to say. These new young hungry players, they bought in and they believed in what he had to say, and that's why they've gone hard. It didn't all just happen last season. The works have been happening prior to that, and maybe that's the case with us, but I don't know if we need to go through an eighth, and then make it. Like we're already ninth, right? I believe we're ninth, so we don't essentially have to follow the Arsenal blueprint. I feel like our owners are trying to accelerate the case a lot more with us. So let's see. At peak performance levels, it is very easy to pick up muscle injuries in low temp training. The World Cup was held a 34 to 40 degree. Not surprising they could play longer. Yeah, fair enough. There could be a scientific reasoning around it. Ziyech was starting to play good under Potter till they screw up his deal with PSG. Yeah. Once again, these players are human beings, man. He was literally moments away from joining PSG, and then he's been told that it's not going to happen. Of course, it would bother him, but how quickly can he snap out of it is probably the real deal. Marviel saying, Miz, I'm waiting for an answer. Which answer are you waiting for? I don't know where your question is. So feel free to put out the question again, my man, if you want. Feel free to put up the question. Mentality coach to solve problem is good, but we saw Chelsea hired mentality coach to bring winning culture. That's on manager to bring winning culture. That's my belief as well. But look, let's see. Time will tell. As Balak CFC said, time will tell. Our squad is too good to be finishing anything below top 3 next season. Of course, agreed. Is these players a human being until it comes to Mount and Havertz? Okay. I don't know what that even means. I don't know if you're trying to say that I hate these players or anything like that. I've countless amount of times said I don't hate these players. I think I've now established a ground for these players that they've been poor for a prolonged period of time. When I say these players are human beings, I'm talking about, for example, Ziyech getting an opportunity to go to PSG and not happening. Of course, their mind is going to be scrambled. So you can understand. What's the issue around Mount and Havertz, who've been poor for nearly 16 months? I mean, what's the reasonings behind that? What seems to be the issue? When I talk about Mount and Havertz, it's purely based on football. It's not based on any other external issues. So I get annoyed when people, they misinterpret like things, not just me or anyone else say, like, oh, we got to understand these players at a human level. When I say we got to understand these players at a human level, I also include Mount and Havertz. They would be in the same boat in terms of seeing all of these changes around them. And who knows, maybe this is what is culminating to their poor performance. Maybe. But they got to snap out of it quick. They have to snap out of it quick. I'm interested to see what Marviel is saying now. Because the issue is the team is poor, man. So many players can't kick ball. Like, can we give Mount a break, please? I didn't even bring up Mount today. And what do you want us to say, Marviel? When every game he's one of the standout players that has been struggling, what do you want us to lie? Do you want us to just skip past that player? That just means that you can't handle the truth. You can't absorb the truth. You can't bear what is being seen. That's your problem, Marviel, man. That gives me an indication that you don't really want the betterment of the club. It gives me the the vibe that you're probably weak inside. You can't hear the truth. You don't want to hear the truth. And it's not my fault if Mount and Havertz and Gallagher, they've been dropping stinkers for past 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. Is it my fault? I want these guys to do well. Because if they do well, we win. And who knows? Maybe I'm starting to think maybe there is a need for a mentality coach. Maybe there is a need. Maybe some of these players are struggling for long periods. And maybe the mentality coach is there to help out Graham Potter, because the size of this job is maybe gargantuan. Because I think some of the players are playing just for the badge because they feel some of the players are overplayed or no tactics. Potter isn't getting sacked this season. They have given their coach in baseball 7 seasons through many highs and lows. So in my opinion, they understand patience needed, but I also think they will sack him if needed. Yeah, I mean, every game that goes by and you don't get a positive result, I think it's going to be very difficult. Mount needs to be benched, and it's as simple as that. He needs time to reflect on his bad performances, pick his form back up. I don't know why everyone thinks we don't want the best for Mount. Honestly, it's crazy. If anything, I want this guy to rip it apart. I want this guy to absolutely boss it. But maybe there is a mentality issue. Maybe there's something that's, this new mentality coach can help them out with. Maybe, could be a therapeutic session with this new mentality coach where the players can open up and talk to this particular individual, and hopefully, get over their issues, whatever that is. Mount not signing his contract is a problem for me. I do think the team is suffering mentally from all the changes that has happened in such a short time. Get the new boys in, they're not affected. You see it. Fair point. And this is what I've been saying, that maybe there's been so many changes that these players probably need counseling. Mount seriously can't be intelligent. He can't be seeing his shocking performances and think he's doing something right and not bothering to change himself. Flies in the house. Will Ben and Reece make much of a difference in a back four system? They found the space as wingbacks, but offensively in a back four, will they be a threat? I can't see how they're not. It's all about players having the confidence. It's all about players having the rhythm. And it's all about the manager then trusting these players to go out there and do the job and not play with shackles on. Do you know what I mean? Play with freedom. That carefree attitude. Do you know what I mean? Reece and Ben Chilwell, they've shown us that they're more than capable. Definitely Reece has. And definitely Chilwell has as well. It's just, injuries have halted their situation, and hopefully, as matches go on and wins, as long as we can pick up wins, I think that will change the morale of the club. It's just right now the wins are so hard to come by. Narayan, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. I would say he needs to get his selection right. He has to find out the best 11 or even best 16 and rotate accordingly. I feel he hasn't figured out the core. The likes of Mount, Gallagher, Kai has been poor. This is true talk. You can have all of these mentality coaches, you can have all of these meetings, sessions, training, but if you end up selecting players that are not doing it for you, you're only digging your own grave. You're only digging your own grave. The problem with Mount is that he's more focused on GA than doing his job to help the team. Do you know what? This is actually a very good point, right? Mount is so focused at the moment on stats. I think he's forgetting. This is our view, right? This is how I feel. This is how Ryan's feeling. And I'm pretty sure this is how a lot of you guys are feeling. But I think he's forgetting the full package. There are other aspects of the game that he needs to work on. I think he's just too focused on, can I get an assist? Can I get a goal? Which is fine. Of course, that's what you need to do. But at the same time, there are other aspects of the game that leads to an assist, that leads to a goal that you need to focus on. You can't just be there in the final third. You've got to be interested in the first phase, in the second phase. You got to grit it out. Because why are we signing number 10, Felix, Havertz, and Nkunku instead of a striker? Our team is crying out for a striker. I think our team is crying out for a lot of things up front. Felix and Nkunku, I think specifically for their creativity. And maybe we're just going to play with a fluid front three. Maybe it's not going to be an out-and-out striker. I would like to see an out-and-out striker, but maybe we might play with a false nine. Who knows? And just players that sort of rotate up front, play anywhere up front. I'm going to take only a few more comments and we'll wrap things up. Smash the like button, guys. Over 400 people live right now. Smash the like button. I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation and hope you guys have enjoyed this interaction. Literally, there's no animosity. There's no me trying to persuade any way you want to think. You can think the way you want to think. I'm thinking the way I'm thinking. It's literally just trying to understand. I think we're all just trying to understand how one thinks about a certain matter. Potter team selection and system implementation has been drastically hampered by lack of availability. Let's not forget we've had a starting 11 now. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. We should give him the opportunity to see how things are when everyone is back. All right, last but not least, digital film reviews. Good to see you, my man. Yeah, seems strange to have three players in Felix and Kunku and Havertz all vying for similar positions. Look, I think Havertz is probably going to move on. I really think Havertz is going to move on. This might be his last season. I think come summer, we're probably going to get rid of him. So you're going to be left with Felix and Nkunku. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to leave in the summer. Has to be. I don't think Ziyech will stick around. I definitely don't think Pulisic will stick around. Havertz is the definite contender as well. Watch this space in regards to Mason Mount. God knows what's going to happen to Ian Martin, who's been killing it in Burnley. Cucurella, Chilwell, what happens there? There's going to be a lot of movement. In midfield, Ruben Loftus-Cheek's got to go. Gallagher, question marks, massive question marks. Kovacic, is he still committed to the Chelsea Football Club? Plenty of things to talk about. Plenty of things to talk about. I think coming summer, we're going to see a lot of exits. But yeah, I guess, look, with this mentality coach, ladies and gentlemen, maybe there is a need. Maybe there is a need. Maybe there is a deeper issue. Maybe because of our consistent mediocre performances, and this isn't just under Potter, let's be honest. Thomas Tuchel faced mediocre performances all through last season. And yeah, understandable, there was a lot going on. Lukaku situation, the sanctions, the new owners, people getting injured this season as well, people getting injured. There was bits and pieces of COVID stuff that happened last season as well during that December period. Maybe there is a need. Maybe there is a need. But as some of you guys have said in this live chat, time will tell. Time will tell. Time will tell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, everyone, take care and smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, see ya.